Hi all, I just wanted to do a quick review on eBackpack, just a little refresher for some of the key things that you can use it for. So if we go to eBackpack, in that first blank you need Lenore, and then to log in it's going to be the beginning of your email, so for me it's my old one, and then your UID or Power School number. Sign in. Oh, I did it wrong. Again, there we go, logged in. Alright, so the first thing, let's just add an assignment. So I'm going to add an assignment. Remember, when you're adding assignment or assessments, you want to always save it to My Files first, and then save it to any of the classes that you're going to do. You can do one, you can do all three, you can do two of the three, you can do all four. It's however you do your assignments, however that differentiation is for you. So then I'm just going to name it something. You would put your instructions here. So please complete the attached worksheet, or please submit a video reflection, or submit your keynote here, submit your iMovie, whatever the actual instructions for the assignment are. So I'm just going to type random stuff. Select your due date. Do Friday. This is where you would add your files, so if there is a worksheet or maybe there's a rubric you want them to see or anything like that that they need to be looking at while they complete the assignment, this is where you would add the files. This looks the same on this app as it does on your computer, so don't let that, it's going to look the exact same. So this is where you would go and select your files. Make sure you mark it as whatever you want. I'm going to mark it as classwork. I'm going to allow turn-in. I'm going to allow late turn-in, because it'll let you know if it's late or not. It'll release grades immediately. Visibility is really only for assessments, and then I'm going to save. And then I'm going to watch it pop up on my calendar. And then for the students, this is what it'll look like for them. And they're pretty good about this, but if they go to the plus sign, this is where they can add a reflection video, add a photo, create a document if you ask them to write something, or upload something from another album, or where they would go and they would tap on it and they would mark it up, if it's a worksheet, things like that. Next, let's make sure that you're synced. So I'm going to go to my classes and group. I'm going to go to one of the ones that I'm a part of. You go to the wrench, you go to edit, and then you scroll down, and down here on the side under permissions, that's where you get gradebook sync. Turn it on, turn it off, whatever you want. I suggest turning it on, but you don't have to if you don't want to, if that's not how you do your grades. But for when you do assessments and stuff and you want things to just go quickly, I suggest you have gradebook sync turned on. You'd save, you go back. So that's how you do gradebook sync. We've created an assignment. Now let's go and create an assessment. Go back to that same plus button at the top corner. We're going to do add assessment. And this is kind of a two-step process. So first, it's going to look exactly like the assignment setup. Remember, we always saved in My File. And then whatever classes we want to assign it to. Name it whatever. These instructions aren't all that important because you're going to have more instructions in the actual assessment. Set the grade. Set what it is. It's a quiz. And this is where visibility is important. So if you don't want the students to be able to see it before they're able to take it, you can manage visibility by date and time, and that way the visibility will only be when you need them to see it. So then we press save. Then we click on it, and then we would create assessment. How many attempts do you want them to have? Do you want them to shuffle questions? Do you want them to type anything? Or do you want them to have any feedback after either, each question or each assessment? That's up to you. Next, this is where you would add your questions. Now, multiple choice, true and false, and yes and no, you're going to be able to have graded automatically. Completion, if they spell it wrong or if it's not exactly what you wrote, it'll be counted wrong. So that's one to kind of, for vocabulary and spelling tests, that's perfect. But sometimes they get kind of close but not completely right, and some people do half credit. Just be aware of that. And then essay and free response, you do have to grade yourself. I think it's still easier because it still syncs directly to PowerSchool, and so you don't have to go back in and grade it on paper and then put it into PowerSchool. You grade it here once, the student gets the grade, and it goes to PowerSchool. So you're only doing it once instead of having to do it multiple times. That's just a personal preference. It's up to you. So we're just going to do an example. Do we want it as extra credit? How much do we want it worth? What is the question? Type in whatever. True or false? Make sure you, over here where it says under the answer, you mark one of them green. If one of them's not green, it won't work. This is where you can add feedback for every question. Now, if you do shuffle questions, or allow them to go back once they've answered, be careful with your feedback because you might actually end up giving them the correct answer in the feedback. So be careful about feedback and shuffling questions or going back to questions. Then you would save. Then when you were done with your questions, you'd click close, and then the assessment would be created and ready for them to take whenever. Once they finish something, it'll pop up under awaiting review, so the paperclip, and it's going to have those numbers. So I can go to one that I did and see. Okay, so see, I've got some that weren't graded, so I'll look at mine. So I don't even remember what the assignment was, but it doesn't look like I finished it. So I would mark it, and then I would, either write something, tell myself I did it wrong, add a sticker, whether it's perfect or, we need to redo this, it's not what I asked for, a complete review. Then you would give the grade, so 50. You can complete and open next, and so if you do that, if you're grading a lot in a row, it'll just open the next one. Or you can complete review, so you're done with all your reviews, and return, and it'll return you to the home screen. Or return you to the assignment screen, sorry. And if you're synced to PowerSchool, it's going to go straight to PowerSchool, and you're not going to have to worry about anything. I think that's everything. This was just a brief, video to discuss the basics of eBackpack. If you have something specific or you have a question or anything at all, please let me know. I'd be happy to sit down and talk more about it. I just wanted to put something out there so that people had a just a refresher of what eBackpack can do for you. Let me know if you have any questions.